Hey everyone, welcome back to the All About the Tea channel. I'm your girl Monica, and joining me today are Teacup affiliates, Plez. Hey Plez.
Hey, how are you?
Good. The Bishop.
Hey,
Bishop.
how y'all doing?
How are you today?
Doing pretty good.
Good. He's our Teacup affiliate from the church.
I'll take it.
Okay. And Schoolboy. Hey, Schoolboy. What you got going on there today? I can't hear you. Is your mute on? Might be your settings. All right, y'all. So today we are discussing a very important topic. Hey, teacups in the chat. We are diving deep into Andy Cohen's discriminatory and completely tone-deaf behavior towards women of color at his network. Okay, everyone can hear me? Let me just do a check-in in the chat. Can y'all hear me? Can everyone hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. If my volume is good, let me know. Let me see. Yes, yes, yes. They can hear me. Yes, yes, yes. Panelists, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. We're doing a sound check. All right. Well, let's get into it, right? We're not going to waste time today. So for years, Bravo has unapologetically profited from women of color and have handled these women based on stereotypical images. Okay. So, of course, Andy Cohen was clueless to the cultural context of his discriminatory actions at the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion towards Monique Samuels and her husband, towards Nene Leakes on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, towards, Mariah from Married to Medicine, Atlanta, and many others, right? Many others that he's had on his Watch What Happens live show, from Titus Burgess, who was on there, who had an incident with Andy Cohen. He even called a 16-year-old Black girl, okay, Jackhole of the Day. Do you guys remember that incident?
Mm-mm. Who was that?
Her name is Amanda Steinberg.
Oh.
Yeah. Amanda Steinberg, here she is. 16-year-old Black girl, he called the Jackhole of the Day. When it comes to Black culture or people of color in general, Andy Cohen is completely tone deaf. Completely tone deaf. Why don't we dive into it? This is a very serious issue. And as a result, social media has erupted. The fans are talking, they're speaking off the rooftops and screaming, boycott Bravo, cancel Andy Cohen, fire Andy Cohen, or get him some cultural training at the least. Let's dive into it. Plez, what are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts on what's going on in the climate?
Well, I think Andy Cohen just represents a microcosm of what happens in America in general. He thinks himself to be a democratic and a very liberal white gay man, but he has, like many people in this country, implicit bias that he may or may not be aware of when it comes to his interactions and his thoughts and stereotypes of Black people, Black women, Black men. And unfortunately, or fortunately maybe for us, and unfortunately for him, he displayed that big in this last reunion. He has displayed it a lot on Watch What Happens Live. You can tell a lot of times he's just completely unaware and aloof of his actions and the things that he says. The microaggressions were blatant and glaring. And I hope all the attention that's coming from it really leads to change and makes it something we can handle on a bigger scale.
I agree with that. When you say microaggression, dive into that word because a lot of people don't understand what you mean when you say microaggression.
So, microaggressions are the little things that we do and don't necessarily know that we're doing, and beliefs that we have. It often comes about in the things that we say. It's prejudiced that you don't even really know you have. For example, like the easiest example we can give, most recent, the reunion. The initial question Andy asked Monique was a reviewer question submitted about how the women and their husbands are handling the women's newfound fame. Will their money, how has their money affected their husbands? And so I didn't find anything wrong with the initial question, right? The initial question was a fair question, particularly because of Karen and Ray's interaction that we saw play out on the show. But the microaggression occurred when Monique was like, no, this little check, we're fine. This is just helping me supplement my businesses. It's nothing compared to what my husband brings in. When Andy came back and said, well, your husband doesn't work in their family anymore, so what money is he bringing in? Like, no, that's a microaggression. That's a little thing where it's like, as we've said before, he never inquired that deeply into anybody else's finances. And so did he do it because Monique is Black? Did he do it because Chris played in the NFL, which is another stereotype that athletes don't invest their money and hold on to their money well? Why did he do it? Mm-hmm. And it's those little things that Black people encounter in the workplace every day, right? That to other people who are of the majority race, they hear it and it's, oh, that's nothing. But Black people know that when certain questions are asked, particularly in a certain tone, there's something else that underlines that.
Right. And it's a mindset, right? Mm-hmm. It's a mindset. Why was that his first reaction? Like, Chris still makes that kind of money? Mm-hmm. I've seen Andy host the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. Erica Jane's husband, he asked about their money. I've never seen him question any of these, white, Caucasian, Bravo celebrities about their husband's income. It's Lisa Vanderpump. He's never said, your husband still makes that kind of money. He's never done it to them because in his mind, it's understood that, of course, they have money. Mm-hmm. Of course they do. Mm-hmm. Bishop, sound off on this.
I'm a little on the fence about it too. I do think some of it is unconscious, and I do believe a lot of it is conscious. He knows what he's doing. I always tell people everything is a slow fade. You know what I mean? He'll throw some out a little bit where we don't catch it. Throw out something else a little bit, and then throw out a little bit more. He do little stuff to Nene. We already know Nene is a hothead. She not taking care of her paperwork. Same thing with Mariah, didn't take care of her paperwork. So we kind of look like, well, you didn't take care of your paperwork, so you can't really call him racist. But then it's little stuff at the reunion. You see the bias, like when he does the reunion shows, where it versus Black people with non-Black people. So then you get these little nuances of little jabs here and there where we don't think none of it until when it's a big jab and we look back, like we like the frog in the frying pan. Once the heat got hot, it's like, oh, I felt a little sting before, but I didn't really think none of it. And I kind of looked at you like that. I didn't feel right when you asked that question, but it was like, well, I don't want to jump to no conclusion because he is, he loves the franchise of Atlanta. But then you start hearing about the pay. These franchises ain't bringing the numbers like ATL is, but you have chicks making way more money than the women on ATL. And it's like, how is they making more money? They're not even bringing viewerships like that. And America's, as far as like minorities, we're a small minority in this country, but you got over millions of people in America who is not black, they're not even watching y'all shows like that. But the black people tune in and watch ATL, Real Housewives of Atlanta. So it's like, why is they making more money? And then the questions keep going and turning. Because let's be for real. I love Denise Richards, but she came in there making a lot of money. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you only doing a one season, you already clocking in like almost $2 million
Right.
a year. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you need to start at the lowest of the totem pole, ma'am. I know you're an actress, but you are not a great actress anymore.
Yeah. Just to circle back to something you said about paperwork, I speak to Mariah directly.
Mhm.
Whenever I speak on something, it's from a direct source. She did do her paperwork correctly. She did, have a top-notch attorney go to Bravo with this show. She's the creator of the show, Married to
Mhm.
Medicine. And she was an executive producer because she casted all the women on that show, helped to put together a storyline. The screener, when they went to Bravo initially, not even Bravo, it's Purveyors of Pop, because they're the ones that own the show, I guess, or that went to Bravo to pitch it. Mariah was part of that whole team. Her paperwork is on point, and they literally stole the show from Mariah. They
Wow.
literally stole it right in her face. And as shocking as that may seem in 2020, we all know that kind of stuff still happens. She does have a very top-notch attorney right now, and her attorney's no joke. He is the best of the best in the business, and she's spending a pretty coin to get what's hers, to get what's rightfully owed to her. So I just wanted to correct that for the people out there listening, because that was a narrative, a false narrative put out there by Heavenly, because Heavenly doesn't like Mariah. And people ran with it, that she sold the show or the show didn't belong to her. False. Speaking of Married to Medicine, I don't want to, take over. I just want to make this point real quick. It's sad that when that happened to Mariah, all her sisters on that cast, like her or not, didn't stand up for her, didn't say anything, and they just allowed it to happen. Even some of them laughed at her and made fun of her, but you know how that goes at times.
And that's, to me, to speak to that, that's foolish. Like, whether or not I like you or not, it affects me in the long run. And that's where it comes with a lot of us African American Black people. Just because you don't like somebody, and it might be personal too, but like a lot of other groups of people, they don't like each other in their own groups. But when it comes to their group being empowered, oh, you best believe they charging up like Voltron on you. They ain't gonna let nobody outside that group tell them what they're gonna do inside their group. They best believe that. But up in our community, we allow people to come in, pick us apart, separate us, let this person be talking to this person, that person. And we seen it played out with Candace and Monique. They allowed the Green Eye Bandits to separate them. And that was a good example of that.
I call that, like going back to Giselle, I call it that the house ninja, the house ninja ideology, I guess you would say,
Divide and conquer.
They always pick one person to make the house ninja, and you have everybody else looking through the window trying to cling on to that person. And you see how Candace is always running behind the house ninja. Wendy Ostafo looking through the window because she can't get in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Schoolboy, sound off on this. You're on mute. Take yourself off of mute. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I get where you're going with the house ninja. I look at it as the systematic racism. We use the same systematic racism within ourselves that we complain about the white culture doing to us. We do it to our own people. Whereas and I'm gonna throw some figures and numbers out here because I really think that people don't understand how much we move the culture. We spend over $3 trillion in just money. This is fashion, clothing, music. We make everything move in this economy. If Black people stopped frequenting or watching white shows it would hit the whole pocket of the entire entertainment industry, because this is where we spend. Other communities, they keep the black dollar in our community only lasts less than 6 hours. So from the time someone actually gets paid till less than half of that day of their shift, they've already spent their money for the day. They're broke. So this is why you keep the payday loan places and all this and that. And the reason why I'm saying that point is the fact that it's really sad that when we do have black people in higher positions, we don't help lift up everybody else. Instead, everybody's trying to be selfish and keep their hand closed. And it's unfair. I think it's really sad how Mariah got done in that instance, because all them heifers wouldn't have a job without her idea. Same thing when I was watching Funky Dineva's video, he brought up some amazing points this morning on his video. He said, Nene had the idea of Watch What Happens Live. Andy Cohen stole that. He took it and made it his. So you have all these black women with creative minds giving you these ideas, and you turned around and you stealing it, and you making a coin off of it, and you coming up. But yet Atlanta, and just to Bishop's point, Atlanta had good ratings. It ain't had good ratings to me since season 9. You the 10, 11, and 20. You can go ahead. I dismiss that. It was nothing. To me, it's reached a point where Atlanta has reached a point where a lot of those women's storylines need to be buttoned up and they need to go away. You need a fresh whole crop of women that have not been on there 10 years. You're at a point where a lot of them need to move on. Beverly Hills is different. Beverly Hills can show us the lifestyle because they got the money like that. It's different. So it's hard to compare Beverly Hills in New York. Well, not everybody in New York got the coin, but the ones that are in New York and Beverly Hills to your Atlanta and Potomac, because everybody does not stand on the same money. But yet, as well as black women, why are y'all not all coming together? You are allowing the executives to run y'all so y'all can get a check. And what's funny to me is that on some of these people don't even need the check, but yet they doing outlandish ish to keep other people from getting money. That's what further makes me mad. But yet you talk about black unity and sisterhood standing together. It's a contradiction. And Monica said that about Wendy, and that's why I don't like Wendy.
Fair points, very fair points. You know, the Bishop, you mentioned pay grades, pay disparities within the network. Atlanta at one point was one of the highest rated shows in the franchise. Okay, Potomac is killing it in the ratings, but the women on that cast in Potomac are the lowest paid housewives in the entire franchise. Bravo has to look into that. Now, NBC Universal, which owns Bravo, earlier this year, they pledged $100 million to Injustice, right? Black Lives Matter was trending. And, you know, after the unfortunate passing, the murder of George Floyd, the country was in mourning. And a lot of these companies sprung into action as, I guess, a PR objective. A lot of these companies pledged a lot of money. But what are they actually doing on the ground level in terms of changes, right? They pledged all this money, but are we seeing any measurable changes, measurable results from what they're doing? Ples, sound off on this, on the pay disparity.
You know, going back to may he rest in peace, Little Richard. Little Richard said, we are the originators, the innovators, the creators. We built this. Everything in this country, we still do. Bravo was built on the backs of Whitney Houston, may she rest in peace, with me and Bobby Brown, and their other claim to fame. On the black end, of course, it's Real Housewives of Atlanta. Real Housewives of Atlanta came in crushing Real Housewives of Orange County. And I say that as somebody who watched and liked Real Housewives of Orange County. But Atlanta was something totally new, totally fresh, something that had never been done in reality TV before. And then, of course, there are other audience that they like to exploit are white gay men with Queer Eye. So black people laid the foundation at Bravo and made Bravo a household network and entity. The problem with the disparity of wages, of course, is not just seen in Bravo, it's seen in our country, period. But Bravo, if they really want to put their money where their mouth is with that $100 million pledge that Universal NBC does, really has to go back to equity. And equity looks like giving Mariah her EP and proper producer roles and ownership credits and monies and revenues that generate from Married to Medicine. That's what it looks like when you say you want to level the playing field and create equity. Anybody who knows anything about entertainment knows that the talent is always shorted. Talent is always paid the least. That goes from music, movies, everything. So as Black people, hopefully we can look at what's happening to to Mariah, to Nene, to Monique, to all of them, and peep the game and learn how to go after those writer roles, those director roles, those executive producer roles, and truly negotiate our worth, know our worth, and add tax. This whole, we don't discuss contracts, we don't discuss what people made, that whole thought process literally came from rich people not wanting workers to be able to compare and see that Johnny is getting paid twice as much for the same job that I did, that I went to school for, that I have degrees for. Mariah brought a wonderful product to Bravo. And to still have these antiquated contracts and thought processes in place really lets us know how much work we still have to do 2020 going forward. Like, we really haven't progressed as much as we have. And like you were saying earlier, Monica, it really is a whole slave mentality, right? So the people who do get into the top 10%, for some reason, don't believe that there's enough. There's enough for everybody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they want to
not
hold
looking out.
strings.
Yeah, they're not looking at the bigger picture. They're not looking at, I'm here. If I pull up my sister to the left and to the right of me, we can all be here. There's enough bread for us all to break. Mm-hmm. There's enough money out there for all of us. I wanted to just address this question in the comments. Someone said, Miss Business Marketing said, I heard Mariah had a choice between talent and EP, and she chose talent. Well, no, she was a star on the show, and they actually did give her EP title, that title they give you, and also creator credits too. When the credits would roll, it would say in the credits, creator Mariah Huq. She did get that. She fought for that, and she got it. So I just wanted to clarify that. How I feel about it, going back to what I was just saying about NBC Universal pledging this $100 million to Black Lives Matter, but then what's happening on the ground level, right? They pledged this money, but on the Real Housewife of Potomac, Andy Cohen sat there and the production sat there, the people at the ground level, and allowed a Black man and a Black baby to be attacked. Let's sound off an innocent Black baby. Let's sound off on that. Schoolboy, your thoughts?
Well, it's all on reality TV. If you look at any reality TV show, from your Love and Hip Hop to Braxton Family Values to any show, they don't want to see Black unity and Black love and positivity. It's always the stereotypes that we ghetto, we ignorant, we don't know how to handle our money, we constantly broke, we got drug problems, somebody in and out of the jail. They don't want to see positivity. And when you do have positivity, and no shade to my Black people, and some of y'all gonna get mad in the comments when I'm gonna say this, but some of y'all don't want positivity on reality TV. Let's keep it 100. Because when you do shows like when Little Kim had the girls trip show, that was the main complaint I saw on Twitter. Well, it ain't no drama. They just all have a good time. Because the premise of the show wasn't drama. Little Kim wasn't trying to do that. So you can't please everybody and keep everybody happy. But at the same time, people have to understand, if you want positivity, then you need to push that, and we need to stop this crabs in a barrel mentality that you can't have more than what I have. No, I'm gonna push you down over here. It's enough money out here for everybody to get. But we don't come together as a people. We only come together as a people when we finally want to wake up and recognize the problem and then say, oh, well, boycott this and boycott that and do this and do that. But there's still going to be a lot of us that are going to look at this boycott and say, the hell with it. I'm still going to watch it. So, you know, it's the fake wokeness that kills me about the community, because we should be running this country. It's more of us than them, but we don't come together. And it's really, really sad that we do not see that unity on TV. But let's be honest, reality TV been reality TV since the 90s when I was growing up and watching Real World. That was way before the New Yorks and all these people that everybody else brings up all the time. Real World was the first thing that was reality TV that I seen as a kid. And it was not like this. And as time progressed, they couldn't do it the same way that they did because social media and everything else changed. Now, I will say this comment that's going to make some people mad too. One thing about, I know I don't like the Kardashians, but one thing I can respect about Kris Jenner was she made, when she was an EP, she had control over the edits. She controlled the storylines. She controlled what came out, and she controlled how it was marketed. That was a part of her agreement with E. Black people don't do that. We don't make sure we have those things, and then you get out here and then you mad because of the way they cut and paste it. I don't understand. Not that I'm saying I don't agree with the boycott. I do, but we gotta stick to what we saying we gonna do and stop diverting from the situation and then saying forget it and then go back to watching it.
Yep. Bishop, your thoughts? You're on mute. You're on mute. Here you go.
My bad. I thought I was off mute. It's pretty much to me like plantation politics all over again. We're okay with the crumbs. We're okay with, people misusing us as long as we get a head over somebody else that's black. And to me, just thinking about it, I heard this from someone else. A lot of African-American black people has been conditioned so badly to where they have a little white man, a little white woman in their head. And before facing that person and saying, no, I need to, I need to be aware of what I'm doing. I need to figure out the consciousness of my blackness and say, am I doing my brother wrong? Like when players were saying about a microaggression. Sometimes we don't know we have microaggression against one another. And we don't see each other as people. We see each other as a fellow slave, saying, if I get over this person, I could be better. Because those women on Married to Medicine, as catty as they are, for them to see what Mariah's going through, problems pushed aside, they still made fun of her. And I'm like, do you not know that's to your detriment? Right. That's what you're doing. There's a lot of people I do not like, but when I see someone is mistreating them for the simple fact that they look just like me, it's time for me to swoop in and say, what you mean by that? Like, I remember at my job, and I worked at corporate America, but I worked at the lowest of totem pole, which was an outsourced company for the mailroom. And I remember one of my bosses, she was a white Hispanic, and she was pretty cool, but she asked me a question like, well, why don't black girls' hair grow long as, white girls' hair? Why is their hair always short when they show their real hair? And I said, well, what you mean by that? And she's like, well, I noticed that different look. So me being professional, it's like a wall between it, and there's like a little doorway, and like the microwave's right there inside the wall. So I went into the wall and I'm like, I'm getting kind of mad, like, what you mean by that? And I stepped back out, calm as all collect. I said, no, that's not true. I said, when we grow our original hair texture, it actually grows out. It don't grow down. So we do have hair. Our people do grow long hair. And I said, our young girls do grow long hair, but relaxers tear the hair out because they're trying to straighten it out and look more European. And
Mhm.
fired her up because she thought that I was going to turn on my fellow black woman and try to disrespect them and try to stick up for them. This is where it comes in that when you show unity, you never show your opponent, and I'm not going to say enemy because I don't want to use that because then you go back and forth with that. But you show people of outside of your community that you're together. Because I was raised like that. My mom and dad raised me like that. You buy black before you buy anything else. Now, if the black product, if your black consumer don't sell what you got, then you buy out. But you buy first with what looks like you. So I grew up on that. So when I go around, I see people doing weird stuff. It puzzled me for a long time. Like, why is you doing this and this and third? But then I realized condition. It's a lot of conditioning going on in the head.
Right. Right. Good points. Good points. Hey, oh gosh, I had a comment on the screen and I took it off, but it was basically saying that we're going about this the wrong way. It's the people at the top that, set the precedent for the people at the bottom. And that's a good point. That's a very good point, because going back to NBC Universal pledging $100 million to Black Lives Matter, but they dropped the ball at the end of the day, right? There needs to be more action behind the movement, more diversity in the workplace from the top down, Most of those executives at Bravo don't represent people of color. They don't.
And diversity has been a code word for so long. I got out of law school in 2009, and before then, when big law firms would court me, it'd be like, oh, we welcome diversity. Diversity to them meant they had one, me, that they could bring out when Capital One or GlaxoSmithKline or big companies who required that they had diversity came around. But other than that, I was to sit in my office and basically be a slave and do their work and answer dumb questions like the bishop was asked. I quit. I wasn't there to be the spokesperson of Black America. And that's what we mean. That $100 million, all these pledges, it's superficial. We have to call on people and hold their feet to the fire and do the actual work. And much like what Schoolboy said, we have to hold ourselves to the fire, because the only way change comes, and our ancestors showed us the way. People always want to say, I'm not my ancestors. We really aren't. It's bad. We really aren't, because our ancestors did a bus boycott for over a year. We can't boycott anything. I haven't watched an NFL game since 2016. And I see so many people that's right back on it because they threw Jay-Z and something. Jay-Z didn't do anything to my knowledge except for get some Latin people in the Super Bowl. Change looks like going to the cities who have NFL teams and having those NFL teams work with police departments on ethnicity training, on sensitivity training. Like, there are things that NFL teams and other people in power can do. They sit there and say, oh, we can't do it, but it's really because they are afraid to truly draw the line in the sand and alienate their non-Black or non-minority audiences. And until they truly stand up and do real work, and until we demand them, and the way we do it, as Schoolboy said, is through collective action, withholding our views, withholding our dollars. But, the civil rights movement was what it was, but in a lot of ways, it took the soul of our people, right? We aren't as collective minded as we used to be. We bought into their dream of individualism, of capitalism, of materialism at all costs. As long as me and my select few are here, I'm good. I got mine. You go get yours.
Well, we're preconditioned. It's systemic racism. There's a lot of work, therapy as a community that needs to be done. I mean, it's kind of hard to, make a whole community come together and think the same way and be united when this dates back to 400 plus years of slavery. It all ties to it. It all does. I mean, it's modern day, I would say, slavery in a sense. It's progressed a lot. Like I gave you the whole scenario with the house ninja and Giselle. She's Stephen from Django Unchained. That is Giselle.
Yeah. And you know who messed up Giselle? The baby boomer generation. Because when you had Silent and you had Greatest Generation, the baby boomer generation wanted to be the show me generation. The substance, have no substance, but nothing but what's it called? Where you just flashy, but there's nothing behind it. And they were okay with that as long as it looked like you got something. Because my parents are baby boomers. And a lot of us ain't, but if you talk to their parents, they believe in saving money. Clothes wasn't a big deal to them, but they looked nice. But the thing is, the baby boom generation is tired of their parents, and they were the first group of Black people to go to college. And what they did was squandered their parents' money, sold their properties and houses, and this is how we ended up in the projects and the slums and all that other stuff, because they wanted to be show me I look good, and this is why you have now Generation X and Y. They have this mentality too. Like, I gotta wear Versace, and Versace don't care nothing about Black people. Oh, I gotta wear this label, Tommy Hilfiger, and it's like, okay, Tommy said he didn't want Black people wearing his clothes originally.
He did.
But we made his clothes popping because we are the trendsetters. They go to the hood to find out what's the next trend. That's what they do.
Yep. Schoolboy, sound off.
Well, first of all, Alex is back after I read him for filth yesterday in the chat. I see him. He's back again with the BS talking about it's a reach. And I'm going to say this real quick before I answer that question. Sir, my mom told me that you're light skinned, and I couldn't tell that from my phone. But I want to let you know, sir, you must not like yourself or the Black culture or the partial part of you that is Black for you to get in here and say all of this is a reach. Okay, you must be one of those people that uses that and they pass. Okay, and you use that to your advantage. But I also want to say this to everybody that's in the chat that keeps saying, oh, it's we're talking about a Black family that was assassinated. But what did they do? They took a Black woman to assassinate another Black family. So you took one Black woman and pawned her to use her to take down a Black family. Now that's supposed to give you justification because it was a Black. It was Giselle. It was a storyline. At the end of the day, Giselle was wrong as hell. And anybody sitting up in here breathing or believing that as a Black person believes that is okay, something is wrong with you. And I want you to go seek help because you need it. That was wrong. They should have not done that. But see, that's the problem. For the dollar green, people will sell their soul. One thing my mama always told me, white people will put money in things that grow. Black people will put money in things that show. Why you think all these rappers got cars, all this, that, and the third, and then when they can't sell an album no more, they can't tour no more, they're broke right back in the hood. Because nobody gave them the financial tools for them to understand what it means. All they know is they got rich, they got money, they don't know what to do with it. So we're not taught the tools to be better. But the problem is that you do have Black executives in positions on different networks, but guess what? They use the same systematic racism that the white man uses on their own people. Oh, well, you're too dark. We can't use you. We got to get somebody that looks exotic or racially ambiguous to play the role. I never understood why you got a dark-skinned daddy, a light-skinned mama, 2 light-skinned kids, and a dark-skinned kid. None of the damn Cosby kids to me made damn sense. How the hell you get Denise and Sandra? It just never made sense to me. They never give us our just due. But the problem is that we have a lot of people in influential places that don't even help their own people. They use the same tactics on their own people that they complain about white people using on us. They take advantage of their own. That's how they get the capitalism. You think Jay-Z got there because he played nice with black people? Hell no. He used the same tactics that he knows that they used on artists coming up to make his money.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do better, but we can't ask for everybody else to treat us equally when our porch is dirty and we need to sweep around our own.
Mm-hmm.
Let's switch gears for a minute. We can come back to this. Nene Leakes. Okay. Now, Nene Leakes recently did a live on Instagram with civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and she talked about being treated unfairly at Bravo. Okay. And she gave various examples of how she's being, mistreated or discriminated against. She said, like when Nene had the incident in the previous season with the cameraman and she pulled his shirt and she didn't want him in her closet, it got a little physical. It was a little tussle. She reminded us that Kim Zolciak did the same thing right before she left the Housewives while she was pregnant with her son. She assaulted her and her husband assaulted a cameraman, but Bravo rewarded her with a spinoff.
Wow.
She pushed him out the way.
Yeah, her and her husband assaulted a cameraman. Well, Kim was pregnant with her first son, and instead of firing her or reprimanding her, or Andy Cohen bringing it up at the reunion and giving disclaimers about not condoning violence, they rewarded Kim Zolciak with her own spinoff that God knows who watches it, because I sure don't.
How is that still on?
And it's been on TV for like 5 or 6 seasons.
No, it's longer than that. I think it's like
How is it still on?
7
That's
or 8.
what I want to know.
Right.
But they canceled
8 or 9.
Yeah.
How
8 or
is
9.
that still on?
Let me say this. Even with Teresa Giudice pushing Andy Cohen, the man who's over the franchise, pushed him down to go chase after, I think it's Danielle that she was chasing after.
Mm-hmm.
And she got rewarded year after year. Her salary kept going up. She never got, cut out of scenes. The show is all around her. When she went to jail, they shut the whole thing down because she wasn't there to be filmed. But nothing was done to her. Her family, they fight. They're like the most rumblest type of family.
Yeah.
I'm like, they get busy. And I'm like, okay, if Chris was to get busy like that, oh my God, we all scared for our own safety. Even the producers, the cameramen will have bodyguards.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's stop. I can't stand people play these little games though. Like everybody don't have anger and all this other stuff, but let's reprimand these people because they look more aggressive, because it's been taught in society's mind that we're more aggressive. We can take more pain than anybody. We can be we'll be okay. We're used to being poor. We're used to being broke. They'll always make it. This is why they programmed us up with good times. And what's happening? You're supposed to be at that level. And some black people think it ain't enough cred with our own people unless we went through the struggle. So I'm like, what the world?
Mm-hmm. Les, your thoughts on Nene's fight for her job, or to be, acknowledged? Because apparently they're not even answering her calls anymore. She wants a meeting with Bravo. She wants to talk about these injustices and the way she was treated unfairly. What are your thoughts on Nene's situation?
It's definitely unfortunate. I do wish Nene had done more of this while she was still, I guess, quote unquote, in their good graces, because so many people, are just going to deflect on this and say that it's really just her being bitter because she was phased out of the show, and her personality. One thing Funky Dineva always says, which I'm sorry, it's just true. People are more willing to negotiate with people they like. They're always negotiating with Candy. The reason Phaedra Parks hasn't been back on this show is because of Candy, and they want to continue their relationship with Candy. She didn't throw her weight around. You know, the time to do this would have been when she was on Watch What Happens Live every other night, when she was on Celebrity Apprentice, when she was on whatever that NBC show that she was on was. I think she waited too late to play her hand. But I do hope that she gets some resolve. But if she doesn't, again, it's like, why would you really want to go back to the hand that bit you already? You have your name, you have your popularity. There's so many networks out here right now. Hell, I mean, Master P showed us the way with independent things. There's so many things that she could do independently to show her worth. And that's what I meant earlier when I said know your worth and add tax. We shortchange ourselves at the negotiating table. And it's largely because we don't know. You know, so like when she first went on Atlanta in what, 07, 08, she didn't know. She was just happy that they liked her and her group of friends and wanted to be on the show. But at some point, we have to start paying attention to everything that's happening around us and learn some of those lessons. You get your foot in the door to learn the lesson. And so I want them, I think the right thing to do, right, is for them to give her just due. But business is different. Like I was saying yesterday about the law versus personal. Business and personal are different. As much as we hate to believe it, everybody in business does not have your same moral and ethical compass. They do not. And that contract that you sign binds you. We got to get better at the negotiating table. I like I said, I like Nene. I want her to get in a better place with this. But if it doesn't come from Bravo, I want her to do it on her own and really show them what they're missing, what they messed up, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Right. Good points. Bishop, what are your thoughts on Nene's fight? Do you think she's making fair points, or are we conflating the issue by, her tagging along to Mariah's issue and the way maybe Monique Samuels was treated at the reunion?
Definitely, I do believe what she's saying. Right message, but wrong messenger. The reason why I'm saying is because Nene was okay being Giselle, who Giselle is now. But to Nene's credit, though, even though she didn't like Kenya, she said she's good for TV. She still spoke up for her. But the problem is with her, she'll go on What's Happened Live and say, frickin' frat need to be reprimanded. And then she turned around and lied to Portia, said, well, I didn't say you need to be fired, but you said I need to be off the show. That's the same thing as saying you need to be fired. So she's wishy-washy with everything. She's mentally unstable, to be in my personal opinion. This I don't have no reflection on All About the Tea. This is what I think. She's mentally unstable, not saying she has a mental illness, but she don't know when to stop. And when she had, initially got demoted, she should have took that role and stayed on there to where she got back on the top, back on the top. And she's a very difficult person to work with from what I hear from people. I keep hearing it over and over, and she's difficult. She's difficult. I'm not just hearing it from white people. I'm hearing it from black people too. And that lets me know that there's something bigger going on with her. And what I'm saying is, what she's saying is true because we see it happen to multiple black women in this franchise. So I'm not going to discredit her for that because a lot of stuff they did to her when they try to make her the villain, she just, they did her wrong. But my thing is this: if you are okay taking the crumbs, why are you getting mad because you're not getting the whole cake after you getting done when you got cut off from the crumbs? So don't try to do backtracks and backflips and trying to say you have the same issues that Mariah's having. No, that's different. Now that we come to find out, thank you, Monica, for clearing it up. Mariah did the correct paperwork. Now we're dealing with how people steal stuff from us. That's been going on with our ancestors, how they steal stuff from them. Even when they had things patent, they try to change the laws and do a switcheroo and say, oh, this person don't need that. And they have people that they pay in Congress to make sure they switch the laws, and you're not aware of it. So when it's time for your case to be litigated and all the other stuff, and then they say, "Oh no, we changed the laws on you. Oh, this is not valid anymore." It's like, what? I signed this. What are you talking about? And I heard about a lot of people. My grandpa said they land got snatched from them. So Nene, in her defense, she should have negotiated all that stuff and got her paperwork right, like Mariah did. You need a paper trail. Don't cry later on once you're on the outs and you traded your show what's happening live for it to be more scenes on TV. That's what you did with your show What Happens Live. You traded it in and you gave it to Andy, not knowing it was a gold mine. You should have said, nah, Andy, nah, I'm good. Actually, you can take me from the show. I just do what's happening live with the girls when they come see me. That's what she should have done.
Mm-hmm. Good points. Very good points. Schoolboy, what are your thoughts on Nene? Does she have a fair case? Can she claim discrimination based on, unfair practices with other cast members that are not African American? Can she claim that?
Now, my mama probably in this chat. She's probably gonna get mad what I say, and I tell her this on the phone. Because she loves Nene. Don't get me wrong. There was a point in time where I liked Nene too, but Nene got a big head. The attitude changed. I think that changed around like season 6, 7. She was, I'm rich, bitch. I'm feeling my kiki. And then you got beside yourself, but at the same time, you weren't smart like Mariah in the sense of making sure your paperwork was together. One thing you don't do is you don't go run your mouth. Remember, she got mad at Lisa Vanderpump because she told Lisa Vanderpump her idea of where she wanted a restaurant down in Santa Monica in California? Am I right?
Not LA, it's Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles. Okay. So what did Lisa Vanderpump go do? Went and bought the building that she wanted and put a restaurant in it. Because you tell your business. You ain't got to tell nobody your ID. Keep it to yourself until you get all your paperwork in a row, and then you expose it. A lot of times we got diarrhea of the mouth. We talk too damn much, and we tell people our business before the idea has formulated. You've done all of your paperwork, and it's actually complete, and you're in play, and it's already begun, being built and put together, or it's done. Then you come expose it. Nene did a lot of talking, but did not handle her paperwork. Then on top of that, her reputation started to precede herself. The way she was acting on TV preceded herself. And so now you've gotten yourself into a situation where you've kind of blackballed yourself. Because if you think about it, remember she was on New Normal with Ryan Murphy. She ain't acted in nothing since. Nobody's offering Nene anything. Because Nene has, once you start burning bridges with one person, they start talking to this producer, this producer, this producer. It's the same thing that happened to comedian Monique. Once you start blackballing yourself with the major players and they start talking, it dwindles down your options. I do feel bad for Nene, but you should have thought about that before your actions cost you your coin. Now going back to Bravo, now this is after you didn't accuse Andy of the Book of Sugar. Well, shit. I'm gonna leave that alone. You accused him, then you talked about him, you trashed him on Twitter. Now you want to come back to NBC and Universal and say, "Oh, talk to me." It's a little too late, like that JoJo song. It's a little too late. You a little too late and $1 short. Now they're not gonna want to deal with you. And unfortunately, like Bishop said, good message, wrong person. And so it's hard to get some black people to rally around her because it's like, well, you showed your ass on TV. We don't know if we really, now, and it's a different case between Mariah and Monique because that was blatant and that was a different situation. But a lot of things that Nene did, I agree with Bishop, you kind of did yourself.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to add DJ Richie Skye to the chat. He always has a very, very astute perspective to add to the conversation. Hey, Richie.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
What's up?
Love that jacket.
Thank you.
Now, we were going over this trending topic, Boycott Bravo and Andy Cohen. We addressed some discriminatory actions against Real Housewives of Potomac, Monique Samuels, Nene Leakes, Mariah Huck of Married to Medicine. Chime in, Richie.
You know, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it's gonna be a difficult road to really call for people to boycott Bravo, mostly because a lot of us watch Bravo, and there are still a lot of other Black stars that are reality stars who are on there and who are employed by the network as well. I think it's a situation where I always say we don't cancel people, we hold them accountable, right? So we hold them accountable just like we're doing right now. This is the type of conversation that starts to make waves. And Monica, they watch you. You know what I'm saying? And so it's important for people like you and people like us who are right here on this panel to have these types of conversations so that people who are at the network can start to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe there is a problem here. You know what I mean? And I think it's also about how you go about doing it. I heard you guys talking a little bit about Nene. Just having worked in the industry, I'm just gonna go ahead and be real. That's not how I would go about doing whatever it is that she's trying to do. That's a war that you really have to fight behind the scenes. And if you're going to fight it head on like this, you have to be prepared to never work with that company ever again. If you're gonna go up on that hill and you're gonna stand 10 toes down, you have to have made up in your mind that relationship is severed and done, and then you have to have in your mind what you want to happen monetarily as a result of the actions that you're now taking. Okay, so because entertainment is all about relationships, right? It is. Whether you want, whether people want to believe it or not, it's about being liked. Think about it.
True. Yeah.
It really is. My first gig when I called myself trying to model was the agency told me, you need to go in there, be on time, don't act up, don't say anything until it's time for you to work hard and be liked, collect your check and leave. Okay. And so for most of us, that's how we rock in the industry. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a case for her, because I don't know everything that went on, but I do think that case would be better handled behind closed doors.
Well said. Well said. And I agree with a lot of the points you made. Like you said, if she's going to go down this road, you have to know you're not going to come back to the show. These are pretty salacious and very, very serious allegations. She called Andy Cohen racist, and he might well be. I don't know. I don't know Nene's entire story, like you said. I don't know the backstory. We all just don't know behind the scenes. I have not spoken to her personally. Only thing I know of her situation is what she's presented on social media. And from what I'm seeing, is this a case of self-sabotage? Or is this a real case of discrimination?
I think both. Because she comes off, it's almost like reality TV meets real life. She played this character, Nene, for so long that she forgot Lanithia needs to live outside of the television screen. And so when she got on social media, she feeling herself. And this goes to show you that you need to slow your roll and understand what's going on around you rather than what's going on with me. I need to change how my looks. I need to do this and third. No. Work what's going on up here. This is how I know she's not a student of the 48 Laws of Power, because Monique, when she finally confirmed for me, because I've been asking her on Twitter, she never confirmed it for me until on your show, Monica, when I asked in the chat room, and she finally answered, she said, yeah, I do it for myself. I'm the same way too. I don't use it to hurt people, but I use it to protect myself, because you need to know how to maneuver with people. You need to know how to do power moves and stuff like that. And like what DJ Richie was saying, if you're going to do that battle where you're going headstrong, Robert Greene tells you, have your ducks lined up in a row. You got to make sure that you're going to win this war. Not you like, I think I'm gonna make this little chess move. No, you need to know 20 moves ahead, because your opponent knows their moves ahead of what you're going to do, because they set this board up actually. But if you don't know how to maneuver around the board, then that's your fault. You need to plan ahead. Don't be planning while you're walking. No, I plan 5 years ahead for myself. I don't play these little, oh, I'm going to wait. I did that in my 20s and messed up. But she's doing it off of emotions, and she's doing it from a character because she got fans. But them fans ain't gonna help you. I'm sorry, they're not gonna help you.
Yeah, I mean, fans don't matter really in this situation. You have to have real legal grounds for a lawsuit. It's one thing and the other thing, it's like the threatening almost. Well, having a live with Ben Crump and all that other stuff. I love Nene. I love her on the show. I love Nene outside of the show. I just think she's great, but I don't know about this issue. I don't know if I could stand behind it 100% like I can with Mariah, who I know intimate details because I talked to her. I know what's going on with her. And she told me numerous times, she said, Monica, I did not sell that show. When I went to Bravo with POP, Purveyors of Pop, we pitched a show together. I had top-notch attorneys handle my contracts. So, and someone in the chat said, well, if Mariah had an ironclad contract, she'd be suing now. How do you know that's not underway? You never know what's going on. Richie, chime in on Mariah Huq. What are your thoughts on her situation?
Mariah's situation is probably the most mysterious to me, because, I'm just with Married to Medicine, I feel like that's the show I know the least about in terms of the inner workings of it. So I don't necessarily know what to believe with what I see online. All I know is Mariah was at the mailbox and she was looking for that contract, and it ain't ever come. Okay, so for me, what I do want to know is.
We lost your volume, Richie.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. There you go.
Okay, the phone was ringing. I appreciate the way that Mariah is handling the situation a little bit better, because she is vocal without being. There's a difference with how she's handling it versus Nene and how she's handling it. I'm not gonna judge either one of them, but I just feel like Mariah is taking a quieter, more move in silence type of approach. And I feel like it may serve her better in the long run.
Absolutely. She has
because
one of the best.
If it were me, no one would know anything. I wouldn't say a word.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't. You just wouldn't sit on the show until it was time to really talk about it, like at the end of the journey, then that's when I would speak about it. But otherwise, I'm very much when the Lord give me the time to move on, it's time for me to move on.
Right,
and I close the door behind me.
Right.
Because in my mind, I always know I am the power. Like, I am the key. Okay. So if I created this show, I will go and create another one.
Absolutely. Well said. Rich B in the comments, hey girl, how you doing? That's my friend. She says, Monica, you're going to have to get past this being about Nene. She herself acknowledged it's bigger than her. I understand that. And it is bigger than her. I get it. And there needs to be changes, like I said, on the ground level. Pledging $100 million towards injustice. Then you have your production companies that are contractors of Bravo. You have executives at Bravo being culturally ignorant, right, towards women of color and, you know, how Black culture works and how to speak to a Black woman. I get that, but I don't want to conflate issues. I understand what Nene is saying, but I still can't get on board or get behind 100% the accusations that she's making to, I guess, get a seat at the table. She kept saying throughout her life, I just want you guys to talk to me. I just want a meeting. I want to meet with you. So, you know, so is that an indication that she wants to get back on the show?
Can I say
she's never. Yeah.
Can I say something
Richie.
about you? We talk about the issue, I think, with Real Housewives of Potomac, which I feel like are a little bit more blatant. These are issues that we, the fans, are pointing out to the network, right? These are things that we're seeing. These are things that Monique has basically said, yes, these things happen to me. What you guys saw on the screen is what happened to me. I felt like this, and therefore, and you guys saw what happened to me, and so I am removing myself. With Nene, it's a bit different. We saw her less and less, obviously, but that was also a contract that she signed, right? So if she agreed to that, and I love Nene, don't get me wrong, but I have to say that the issues are slightly different, but there are some common underlying themes that I can see why people say,
Right. Yeah.
hey, we need to listen to her too. That's I just wanted to say that.
And also, can I add?
That's a great point. Yes, Bishop, chime in.
With Monique too, like what Richie was saying, she bowed out gracefully, where she could still be worked with. Like the networks, once they see, you know, Potomac and the fans of Monique leave, they're gonna be like, oh, we need her back. But even though she said she ain't coming back, she still is a wanted commodity. She left at the heighten of when people wanted her. And she made sure that she said, I'm not going to trash talk the show or the network. See, that's how you keep business relationships and even future relationships. When people say, man, even when she quits and she didn't like the way she was treated, she still ain't gonna dog us out. I can work with her. Nene, on the other hand, I love Nene like what everyone's saying. I love Nene. I think her character is awesome, but she don't know when to separate Nene from Lanithia. Those are two different people. You played a character on the show. You're trying to bring that character into your real life, and it's bleeding over, and it ain't a good look. Because I heard people say time again, she's a sweetheart, and I believe it. But I cannot believe it when you're acting erratic on social media. They're not going to want to take a meeting with you. If it was me, I wouldn't want to take a meeting with her after she done dogged, you know, her own manager and who she's supposed to work with. Like, come on now, let's be real. She's a grown woman. She should understand that.
Can we address this real quick? Plus, I want you to tackle this one. Takesha says, this is what's wrong with the Black community. Y'all saying wrong messenger. Why does that matter if she's getting wrong? Plus, tackle this one for me.
Well, the reality is, like the bishop just said, you do have to have enough pull to even get at the table. So here's my thing, right? Nene needs to decide what her end game is. If her end game is to create systemic change so that this doesn't happen to any other Black woman, right, I believe she can do that. Now, she can't do it on her own. She will need the evidence. Like, you have to show Bravo and ABC, whoever, NBC Universal, that we see you. And there's a pattern here that needs to be discussed. You have to create, by documentation, the pattern. Monique, you know, that whole reunion needs to be broke down into clear instances of things that happened that were non-acceptable. The issues with Mariah need to be fully documented. Other Black talent on the network must come forward with their own stories, statements, issues, grievances as well. Now, it does not need to be as public, i.e. in these social media streets, as everyone else, but you do need to get, if it's Ben Crump, it's Ben Crump. You need to get a good civil rights attorney to deal with the civil rights issues, again, in the hopes of coming with an agreement that any new Black talent that comes on will be, and presents their own creative ideas will get a better contract or will be offered blank, 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 blank. Like, you have to decide what your end game is and what you want to see happen to transform this moving forward. Now, if their end game is only self curing, Mariah getting what she's owed. Nene, I don't really know what she's owed. I don't think she's ever fully documented that. If you signed a bad contract, you signed a bad contract. And there's nothing really, as long as Bravo didn't violate that contract, again, we can't get into what's fair. And I shouldn't have signed it. You shouldn't have, but you also should have gotten you a great attorney to negotiate that up front. That happens all day, every day, unfortunately. White, Black, all kind of talent gets a raw deal. Songwriters get their songs stolen every day. And no, it's not fair, but again, business has never been fair, and that's why it's on the people. And it's hard when you don't come from that life and that background. You're just eager to be in the room. You're just eager to be at the table. Mm-hmm. But I can't with good conscience then say it was racist. I can't say that when I know other people get handled the same way. So it's really about what she is looking to do. And if she's looking to do a collective action, I think that's great. But her being back on Bravo at this point.
Right. It looks dismal. And if she's doing all of this, right, to just get back on Bravo, then to me, I can't stand behind that. If that's the end game, is to get back on Bravo, I can't stand behind it. It's just hard for me. Richie, do you have anything else to add? Because I know it's getting dark where you are, and you literally just ran out the mall or the Apple store just to be on here. And I thank you so much, my brother. Thank you. You know how I feel about you. You're my boo. I'll let you go unless you have anything else to, add to this conversation.
No, you got a little wise counsel going on right here. So y'all got to take care of.
Thank you, honey. I'll see you, sweetheart. Bye. Bye, Richie. I'm going to add our DMV Teacup affiliate, Marcella Speaks. Hey, Marcella.
How are you?
Good. Hey. Now, I'm trying to keep things flowing in terms of dealing with one issue at a time. We were talking about Nene.
Okay.
I think we pretty much covered that, right? Everyone in the chat, we went over. You want to add something to that discussion about, does Nene have a case of discrimination
no.
based on her? Okay.
I'm going to tell you why. When I have Nene written down, I have karma blackball. Nene sat at that table for 12 years and she didn't complain. Kim Zolciak said the ninja word in 2010 and she didn't do nothing about it. Now my question would be boycotting. If she wants to, does she want to be there? But all I hear Nene saying is she thinks she deserves her own show. Nene allowed Andy to use her on What Happened Live, go these places for some coins. She allowed him to use her. She became difficult, suggesting people be fired. That's the karma. And then I'm going to tell you what Andy did to her to slap her down a little bit. Andy and Wendy did not have a relationship. He mended a relationship with Wendy Williams, and he allowed Wendy Williams to be on What Happened Live. And Wendy Williams bashed Nene. When Nene started saying that Andy was racist and he was messing with the booger sugar allegedly, you know what? Then he said, I can't get back at her. But I'm going to tell you, in New York City, that's where I'm from, you mess with these executives and what they do is get on the phone and say, hey, Bob from CBS, don't use her. She is negative. Hey, Bob from ABC, don't mess with her. Man, she's run her course. Nene got big-headed for some coins. And guess what? in turn, she neglected every Black person around her. Why would you hire her back when she says, I'm done, and get up and shut her laptop? She walks off and think they're going to kiss her butt, and they're not doing it. So you know what? Why do you want to go back in the room with behind away from everybody? Because you want to go in there and beg. You know I didn't mean that. I was just mad. Can you give me my show? Can you get me back on the show? She's seeing that the Real Housewives of Atlanta is flowing without her. She tried to knock down the new women, not even working with them.
Right.
When she talked about Andy, the white production networks was looking at her saying, no. When she's not happy with us, is she going to do that too? They're not. Nene was not discriminated against because she sat at that table and ate.
Okay.
And when they said no more, but I'm going to tell you one more thing about Nene. Nene played chicken. She played chicken, and she was still negotiating her contract, what she felt like she was worth. And they didn't feel like that no more. And by the time she went back to say, I'll take it, they said it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Good points. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I appreciate all the super chats. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and helping keep the lights on. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so thank you, Thank you, Marcella. Let's now tackle this boycott. Okay. And the boycott, I guess, stems from overall. I mean, even before Nene said boycott Bravo, people were calling for a boycott on social media of Bravo and Andy. Then Nene came forward with Ben Crump and talked about her issues with the network and being discriminated against. Mariah, I interviewed Mariah a few months ago. It's on my channel, and she goes deep into the situation of her contract, the way she was treated, how they stole her show. After this live, you guys, I highly suggest you go look at that interview. It was very deep. We tackled a lot of topics, and she was very candid. She was very open with me about a lot of things. Let's talk about this boycott, because it seemed to me after Monique quit the show and we saw Andy Cohen disrespect a Black man, a Black baby, and a Black woman on that reunion, everybody has been in an uproar. I mean, the fans, social media, everyone's talking about this. Plus, should the community, the viewers, boycott Bravo, and why?
It's a hard one for me, honestly. I think a boycott can be very useful, but as DJ Richie Skye said, are we cutting off our hand to spite our face? You know, are there's other Black talent on the network that deserves to be there, that deserves to be showcased, that is working hard. And I just don't know if a boycott right now is our best strategy. Honestly, I know where it's headed, and I can see. I don't know if it's boycott Bravo. I think it's definitely boycott Andy Cohen and call for his removal from certain areas. Definitely some media and sensitivity training, definitely a sit down with the Black talent. Like I said, to me, it goes in stages. I don't feel like, or at least I'm not privy to the methods that have already been tried that haven't worked. You don't jump to boycott. Like, you start with, let's sit down and have a meeting, but you have to have the meeting with support of the rest of the Black, or at least a majority of the Black talent, and what your ask is. I don't think Bravo or NBC Universal has received a formal ask of what we're asking for. What are, even in the boycott, what is the boycott meant to do? What are we looking to gain from the boycott? That's where I am on it.
Right. I didn't mean to cut you off, but they're asking for the community to stop watching Bravo shows until they start treating their black talent equally. That's
No, but so that's my thing though, right? What does equal treatment look like? Because we don't want to go back, but let's just look at Nene. If she's talking about discrimination, exactly for what? Because they removed all of the older housewives. Is Vicky Gunvalson suing? It like she was the top dog on Housewives of Orange County. Where is you have to flush out, where is the disparate treatment? Where are we being treated differently? In that instance with Nene, they're getting rid of all of the older housewives. The ratings on all of the shows are down. Those older housewives had enormous contracts. Any business, you cut your money and your budget from the top. People are getting sick of watching the same people over and over and over. So I don't really know if that was disparate treatment. She may have something about the Watch What Happens Live, but as Schoolboy said, I heard that same thing that she said about calling Lisa Vanderpump about her lounge or restaurant idea. You did not have anything purchased, copyrighted, or anything else. So, yes, somebody stole your idea, but that's why you shouldn't go to people you don't trust, and sometimes even people you trust, with your ideas. So that's why, for me, the ask isn't clear, right? Until we get equal treatment. What does equal look like?
right. Bishop, should the fans boycott Bravo, boycott Andy Cohen? Should, I've seen some comments where that were made that said, take the black shows over to Tyler Perry, take them over to BET. Share your thoughts.
BET's white. Viacom. So I don't know.
That's right, Schoolboy.
There's not very many black networks. So.
Yeah. What I'm gonna say is no, they shouldn't boycott. Like what Richie said, hold them accountable. That's the problem. Like what Player's saying, boycott. It worked back in the day because we were more unified. We're not unified now. We're more integrated more than ever. And people need to cut it out with like, oh, I'm so pro-black. No, you're not. You're pro-integration. Let's be real about that. And it's been done finally. The schools, everybody's mixing in together. So stop it. But my thing is this: you need to stand and hold the line. Like the thing with Married to Medicine, the women laughing at Mariah because they have a personal problem with her. First of all, one of the laws and 40 laws of power is you use your enemies for your advantage. You do not try to be mad because they ain't your friend. They ain't my friend, so I don't care what happens to her. No, you idiot, because once you have a creative idea, you're going to want people to back you up too, whether or not you did them wrong on the show because you was a character playing, your alter ego. All that aside, it's still business is business, and racism and elitism and socialism, social class, all that stuff, that's all wrapped in one in America. There's no difference. And people want to separate them, but it's not separated in this country. This is why all these things can happen to us, and we're at the bottom of the barrel. All these things can keep happening. We're still at the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
And folks want to keep separating, like classes and all that stuff is separated from racism. No, it's not. It's only separated with white people. But then again, when it comes for them to rise up like Voltron, they're going against you. So their bottom line, they're always going to be ahead of you. And people don't see that. They always see, the talented 10%, like with W.E.B. Du Bois, try to snuff out Marcus Garvey. Because Marcus Garvey was not an intellectual with the top 10%, and he was a bought and paid for person. This happened back in the 1800s, so it's still happening.
Right. Yeah. So I added Debonair, hey boo, to the chat. What's up? I want you to address this. Zara in the comments says, you all are trash for this hit job on Nene. I can't believe you are all doing this. Then talk about blacks supporting each other, even if you don't like someone. So are we all supposed to get behind Nene because we're all black? and just blindly support her? Is that what you're saying, Zara? So Debonair, sound off. You're on mute, sweetie. You have yourself on. Wait, hold on. Let me see. There you go.
I'm sorry. You hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, loud and clear.
Okay. I feel like that was worded wrong, and I was like itching and screaming in the background while this was going on, because I feel like Nene kind of tried to progress throughout time to say this is going on. Because if you guys remember, I can't remember what reunion it was, but she had kind of confronted Andy Cohen on the reunion, and she asked about Kim's show. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
She said, "Why do you have your own show? We all want to know." And
Right.
Andy couldn't say anything. Kim couldn't give an answer. And on top of that, she stole that song from that song from Candy. She never paid her for it. And then they named her show that after that. Andy plays that song millions of billions of times. And I feel like that Nene kind of got to a point where it's like she's at the end of the line right now. I feel like she feels like she may have tried everything she could try without being problematic. I hated the word problematic, period, when it came to her or anybody on there, because what you guys were talking about earlier, to me, I feel like this, when we go back and we look at all of the black cast of Housewives, who do they attack? It's the black families. Even if you look at Potomac, they took an interracial couple and attacked Monique's black family. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So all these things are like, it's like the puppeteer is playing these games, because you have your Giselles, you have your Mariah, and you have your Nene Leakes. When they signed up for a job, and their job was to be the person to puppet master the cast. And now when people don't disliking them, now all of a sudden we want to roll back to, I need my money from this because I created this. And for a long time, until I actually heard what you were saying today, Monica, I had a lot of issues with Mariah. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I feel like Mariah was horrible. And she had blocked me once. She had blocked me at some point on social media, because I think it was a time when Dr. Jackie was doing that photo shoot, and she started something between Quad and Mariah. And I was like, it was so unnecessary. And I'm like, the reason why they did that was because you edged that on. And so I guess because us as fans watch and we don't actually see the back stuff. And I think with hearing Monique's story about the reunion and us not seeing everything, a lot of it starts to make more sense, because us as fans don't understand that there are more things that go on while they're filming. But I feel like they played Nene because, one, Nene was the first black woman who came on and created that show, right? So she probably didn't have her paperwork together. She didn't know any better. So, and I was going to ask you this as well, because I heard one of you guys say that she created Watch What's Happening Live, but I also heard she was the reason why they have reunions as well. Is that true, Monica?
I've heard that, and let's touch on that.
Okay.
Because people sometimes take a lot of credit for maybe something they didn't do. Sometimes you have a suggestion on something.
Yeah.
What's a suggestion in your head? Oh, you know what you should do? At the end of each season, bring us all together and let's have a party or a discussion and recap it.
Yeah.
That's a lot different than actually taking that and materializing it into a show, a concept, right. Hiring people, putting structure behind it. It's a lot different than just mentioning something, and I don't want to take anything away from Nene, but
right.
Sometimes people like to take a lot of credit for something they didn't do.
Right. And I didn't know actual, so that's why I didn't bring that up. But I was just thinking, I feel like she felt like she brought so much. And when you look at the fact that Kim Zolciak got that show, and she asked on the reunion, she said, "Why did you get that show? We all want to know." It's one of my favorite lines to quote. We all want to know. They never could answer that. With Portia has gotten a million shows. And I think that, Nene's main fault was when she started going to Glee and the other show you guys had mentioned, she felt like she was bigger and better. And with the Trump and whatever Trump show was, she felt like she had got beyond the show. But they brought her back down because she never got back on after anything else. And I think she was on a play too, right?
Yes.
So she did a lot of things that were bigger than the show. And I feel like she was grown, but she felt like they started stunning that for whatever reason. I also feel like, a lot of people for Nene, and the thing is, I'm not a big Nene fan at all. But they celebrated her for her being the way she was on that show. That's why the ratings were the way they were. And so now when she's saying, boycott Bravo because they're problematic, they're like, well, no, you're this way, but y'all celebrated her for this for every season that she was on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it a good thing or was it a bad thing? Because to me, if I was Nene, I'm confused at this point. Because you guys celebrate, you watch the show because I caused these problems.
Right.
And even we said a few days ago, the reason why King is having a problem because she has nobody to spar with. So I feel like I don't know if I want to join a boycott to boycott Bravo thing because of Nene. I also definitely didn't want to do it because of Mariah until today. But Monique is probably the person that I related to and been like, you know what? I'm starting to see why. Because she wasn't as problematic to me as Nene or Mariah. I feel like they kind of had the same traits when they came on, Nene and Mariah, when they came into the show. Monique just kind of gave us like, this is my family and this is what it is. But when I saw how they attacked her and her family, it was like, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah. Great points, Debonair. Great points. All right. So is the general, we're all over the place. Some are saying don't boycott. Some are saying boycott. I personally feel something needs to be done. And to me, we need to start with Andy Cohen. Somebody needs to sit his behind down in a chair and have a discussion with him. He's missing the mark when it comes to, cultural appropriateness. He doesn't understand the culture. He doesn't understand the language these women are speaking. He's speaking a totally different language. He doesn't understand the Black nuances. And as a result, here he is, in his own mind, without even realizing, I don't even think he realizes his prejudice, asking Monique Samuels, is Chris still making that type of money? I want to circle back to that. Now let's focus on Monique, because we focused on Nene. We talked about the boycott a little bit. Let's focus on Monique Samuels and how Monique and her family were treated at that reunion, in my opinion, wasn't fair. And I know a lot of people looking in from the outside, from other cultures, may say, well, they're all Black women, because they don't understand the slave plantation mentality. They can't see what other Black people see. They can't see that Giselle was set up as the house ninja. She's a puppet for the producers, and she is there to conquer and divide and create a whole lot of mess. Instead of unifying these women and saying and pushing back and saying, no, I'm not going to be your puppet. No, I'm not going to bring this disgusting lie, which she knew it was a lie, I'm not going to shame this Black family. I'm not going to tell lies on this Black family. I'm not going to tell a lie on a Black baby. She brought it to TV effortlessly. It was no problem for her. So let's talk about Monique Samuels and this reunion. I want us to focus on that right now in this segment. Plez, was Monique treated unfairly in your opinion? Does Andy need some sort of cultural training? Is Andy racist? Sound off.
I don't know if he's a racist, but he definitely speaks and acts as a man who, a rich white man who is used and engulfed in his own privilege. He just doesn't. Well, I know some of you all said it's on purpose. I don't really think, from what I saw, I didn't think it was I think it was a legit question, because I've been around rich white men who they literally think all Black people are like one step from welfare. They don't believe that we have this life. I have 3 degrees, 2 law licenses. I still encounter white male attorneys that question my education, my background, my pedigree openly. And so many white people are so just self-absorbed, and they don't know any different. I wouldn't be surprised if prior to Bravo, Andy even knew or called himself friendly with a Black woman. he's lived the lifestyle that he's lived in his bubble, in his community for so long. And that's, for me, that's where the boycott begins. It begins with Andy Cohen. It begins with holding him accountable, holding his feet to the fire. Keep flaming him on Twitter. He can keep them comments off for the next year for all I care. Like, he needs to see what he's doing and the things that he says and how they're incongruent at the very least. So I can't call him racist. He's definitely biased. He's definitely passive aggressive. He's definitely in the bias. I saw somebody in the comments yesterday, it might have been Alex, saying that he's biased on the white shows too. Again, that means that's why he needs to be removed. The host should not be biased. Period.
Right.
And even
Absolutely.
if he is, everybody has their favorites. He should not blatantly showcase his favorites when we're there for a reunion to go through everything that happened to all of the ladies. He did not share, dish out equal accountability. Production as well. Since Giselle outed herself months ago on her, not months ago, last month, whenever they filmed this, on her meltdown. I was expecting the meltdown to be way worse. So for her to get the nice edit that she got, that's a problem. Why is she giving the nice edit and other people are made to look like monsters? That's an issue.
I could tell you why. She's the light-skinned, green-eyed, house ninja that is protected. Okay. And then you have Candace and Robin and Wendy just salivating just to be her friend, just to be close to the house ninjas so they can have the same privileges that she has. That's why. I didn't mean to cut you off, Plez, but I just had to tell you why. Because
I get it, but that's for me. I can't call anybody flat out racist, but he's definitely biased, and I guess we can say he has racist tendencies. Child, he probably one step. If pushed hard enough, that N word might come out. Might.
Mm-hmm.
Behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and the fetish for black men, that's what gave it away for me. That, to me, in my opinion, he's racist, because it's so weird how he like say little sly remarks. And when I first saw him, like, I wasn't like a Housewives fan. I always hear, women talk about it, and my homeboys, like, their girlfriend turned them on to it. Like, oh, I watched this Atlanta show. I keep hearing about Atlanta. So I didn't watch Atlanta until like the 7th or 8th season. And then I went back, since it was on Hulu, and watched reunions, because I don't want to watch the whole show. It takes too long. But then I noticed little things, and then I turned on another franchise. Like, let me see how Beverly Hills is ran. And I'm like, this is like a different world, like totally different. And I watched New Jersey. I'm like, okay, New Jersey is crumped when it comes to fighting. So I'm like, why is folks not being contracts being demoted? And then I realized, like, oh, okay, the reason why people can't see the little nuances of the little sprinkle of racism is because he'll hide it behind sexism. Then he'll hide it behind, this ism, that ism. So when I talk to people about this, intersectionalism can actually tamper down racism so it won't look as bad. This is why they pinpoint people sexuality while we're in the community together and we're fighting for Black lives. They'll make you separate. Well, this is a person because he's this religion, and this person practices this lifestyle. This person this. So when they do all that stuff, it conflates that you're being, stomped on as Black people. That's what they do with these little chess moves. And I be telling people, like, leave that out. Please don't bring that up. Like even as me as a Christian, I don't even bring that up when I'm talking to another fellow Black person, because that does not matter, because I'm being killed, you being killed, people look like us being killed all the way around. Like, they don't care who you are. And I'm not saying killed like physically, but I'm talking about as far as like mentally, when you watch certain things and they kill the consciousness of us and saying, oh, you need to, like this better, like that better. And I know I'm all over the place. I'm sorry about that. I know I see players like, what the world? But they have, you know, it just takes the humanness out of us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. It takes the humanness out of us, and where we don't respect our own people. And to where it's like, well, I'm with this clique in our own group, and when it's time to come together, this is why we can't come together with the boycott. So I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I'm very sorry.
You're not. It's okay. It's okay. Listen, Schoolboy, chime in on this. I want to hear your thoughts.
You know, I'm here for the boycott, but you know, like Marcella said earlier, well, what's the end game? You know, like we're all saying, players, what is the end game? So we're boycotting, but what are we boycotting for? Yes, Andy Cohen does need to be removed. He's been needing to be removed years ago, and not just with Atlanta or Potomac. He's been needing to be removed from Beverly Hills, because what they did to Denise Richardson was unmerciful. And Garcelle got to a point where she was so pissed afterward, she, you know, chimed off on her Instagram and said it was crazy how they kept badgering with that, with a crazy drunk Brandy Glanville, who, you know, I mean, he does it, but the difference is with the other cast, you know, the way he does it, his tactic is different. It's the same thing, but it's different because they're not Black. And and that's what it comes down to. Because when Tamra and Vicky and all of those OGs, they had the same situation Nene had. It was just handled a little bit different, but they still called him out. It didn't make as much wave because they weren't a Black woman. They were white women that said it, but they're also, and not to take anything from Nene Leakes, they're white women with money. They don't need the show. Their money, the way they eat, don't depend on a TV show. They come from generational wealth. There's a difference. So when you have people like Monique Samuels that can say, you know what, this ain't gonna disturb my peace. I'm good. Me and my husband got generational wealth. I don't need to be on the show. So you gotta, and this is what, and this, I hate to say this, but I mean, and a lot of y'all don't agree with me today, and I really don't give a damn. But I'm gonna say this. A lot of times people have to understand you don't want to see the truth and you don't want to hear the truth, because the truth is nothing but the truth. Y'all don't want to recognize it. You just want to say, oh, this because y'all hate them or y'all don't like them. It's not about not liking a person. It's about the facts. When the facts present themselves and the person has all their paperwork laid out, baby, you can't dispute nobody that got their coin and their paperwork together. Mariah and Monique's situation are different. Mariah is suing on a totally different platform about something else, the same premise, but she has her paperwork, and that's different. Monique had enough respect for herself, number one, and her family enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to sell my soul for the almighty dollar, because somebody making an appointment. And yes, when you sign up for reality TV, you sign up for people to talk about. That's what they come after for, because it's the drama. It's not cookie cutter. It's not going to show everything. Funky Dineva said something so poignant, and I loved what he said in his video earlier today. He said Housewives has gotten away from what the basis of what the show was about. It was to see how the other half lives and their lifestyle and what they're able to do with their money and all this. Now it's just been turned into, okay, who slept with who fighting with who's arguing, and who we can make a plot off of, and who we can come up off of. Just like I know Real Housewives of Atlanta, what they're gonna do, the same thing they did with Potomac with this fight. They're gonna run that whole stripper gate as the whole entire season, because there is nothing else to go off of. They doing regular schmegula people stuff. Where is the I haven't seen nothing that's been big baller rich on RHOP in so long. Since Kim Zolciak went up in there and Big Papa gave her that check and she bought that Escalade. Where is the big boy money? I watch Beverly Hills because them heifers can go into Fendi and buy everything and don't care. That stuff I like to see. I don't care about all that other mess. But it's gotten away from that, and they need to recreate and bring it back around. And unfortunately, and let's be real, like Richie said, boycott what? You can't cancel. Roland Martin said this. You can't cancel what's already in the culture, unfortunately. It's there.
Good points. Joanna makes a great comment here, and I really, really like this comment. She says, boycott so you can get the attention of the executives to have a meeting, because they will not take it seriously unless they are hurting in the ratings and their bottom line, their pockets are hurting. I agree with that. That is the purpose of a boycott. We really do need to rally around these issues as fans and do something. And that's what we're doing now.
Stick to it.
We're voicing our concerns, right? We're voicing our concerns on today's show, on YouTube, all over social media. I do feel that there's something that needs to be done, especially with Andy Cohen. He does not, in my opinion, he should not be hosting those reunions at all anymore. He's so disconnected. He doesn't know what's going on. And so disrespectful.
Because he don't watch the show.
Oh.
Don't watch.
No, he doesn't. Marcella, chime in on this, honey. Chime in on, should we boycott?
What we gonna boycott? We need to stop boycotting. We need to stop boycotting Andy Cohen. We need to stop boycotting Bravo. We need to boycott the sponsors, Cheetos and all these people that got commercials. When we need to boycott Truly Original. Who is the production? Who's actually paying these people? See, they don't pay attention now unless you start touching their money. You start complaining to Truly Original about Andy. You start talking to sponsors, all these commercials that come in between these shows. When they say you're representing somebody who would do that, I'm gonna tell you something. Andy Cohen, all they're gonna do when y'all put this boycott on, I'm gonna tell you what all the companies do. They boycott, then they welcome a diversity training. They preach, they teach, and never change. They never change. But if you start messing with their money, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, we got to do something. Just like Karen went to Candace's bosses, they need to go to Andy's bosses and said, this is what's going to happen. Because until you start messing with the money, they're not going to move, because this is plantation politics. I'm telling you. Guess what? They look at the Black community and say all the sports guy, Michael Jordan and stuff. They don't look at us as lawyers, doctors, scientists, news personalities. They look at us as, okay, we're going to throw them some crumbs. They don't have this, and they're going to do anything we want. But you know what? I'm going to say this one last thing. I was watching this movie, and this Black guy went to this rich white man and said, I want to make this deal with you. And he said, why would I put my dog at my dinner table? See, they look at us as dogs and being entertaining, and they don't take us serious. Mariah did not submit her contract with them. Instead of her being an EP, an executive producer, she was an empty person. They just gave her a title, and she was like, I'm the EP, I'm the EP. But she didn't copyright her idea.
She actually has paperwork on her creation. She really does. She does.
Well, they need to be paying her, and she should have had in her contract, if my face is not in the place, I need some of them dead presidents' faces when I'm not there.
She's working on it. I have an exclusive coming out maybe Friday or Monday to update you on what's really going on with Mariah specifically, and some Married to Medicine tea to spill as well. So, yeah.
Can I ask a question to Marcella?
So, Debonair, sound off.
Well,
I ask a question to Marcella. And I believe what you said, but if they boycott the sponsors, then I guess I kind of feel like there'll be other sponsors that are waiting in line. So how would that help for people who are ignorant to this, who don't understand it? If let's say Coca-Cola and other ones are the sponsors. If we boycott them, and there's ones that's ready after they don't, we don't support them, then what? Okay.
We just have to mess with their money.
It gets their attention. You mess with their money and their advertising dollars, there's a problem. They're gonna have meetings. They're going to make significant changes. Like I said, NBC Universal pledged $100 million earlier this year towards injustice, but they're not doing the work at the ground level. There's still a ton of injustice within the network and how they view Black women. You know, there's been a couple of comments in the chat about Portia. Well, she's Black and, you know, Andy likes her. Yeah, he's using her, and the network are using Portia to promote their Black Lives Matter stance, in my opinion. And they're going to turn around and have her sleeping with a trainer and her co-star, which totally diminishes the whole thing.
Right.
So where are we going with that?
I guess I feel like, you know, I would love to know what the solution is. Honestly, I don't think I have an answer for what to do, because honestly, I feel like we, as Black people, we try to boycott so many things and it never really works, because if Bravo is our favorite channel, we may stop watching Potomac, but then Atlanta comes on. We love Atlanta. Salt Lake City is on, like we're watching that now. Like there's so many different ones, and it's like, I felt like even when Monique was on, she was like, well, support the ladies. It was like, almost like, how do you support but also make a difference in not supporting, so we get it, so we make a change?
Andy has a show. What's What Happened Live?
Okay.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it. What's Happened Live. Don't, anything he's in, don't do it, because you know what? He has even did this to white people now. What is that redhead comedian lady?
Kathy Griffin.
He shut her out. So I'm not looking at him as being racist. He's a Jewish man with entitlements.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I want to point this out too, because we are talking about Black people and stuff like this. You also have to realize about how the Black gay men feel as well, because they use Black gay men as accessories, like we purses and we handbags and stuff like that. That's a whole nother situation that needs to be dealt with as well. Like, it's not just this show for the women that are on here. Think about all the Black gay men that are on there that they use as just accessories. And then if you watch Salt Lake City, what's his name? Her son, he has his own family, he had a fashion show. He got his own.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
They feature his whole thing. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to go through his mother, and was like it's his mother's thing. That was his clothing line.
Yeah.
And so, Debonair, that's why I was saying about, you know, people need to get out of this mindset of intersectionality. Like, leave it alone. These are Black people being done wrong. I don't care how you feel about what your personal practice is. You need to stand by your brother and your sister at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, our lives matter, period. I don't care what you do or what you know, because people like to conflate their little issues and put it on other Black people and say, well, you don't do this, so I don't support you. Because when I seen that, how they did, Nene did a lot of Black gay men, she treated them like they were not human. I was like, I don't like that whatsoever. I don't care. I don't like that, because that's messed up. That is a Black man who has real feelings. You know what I mean? And she trying to do all of this. And I'm glad the gay Black community roasted her for that, because she looked real stupid. But Funky not even do that every time. I just cracked up. I was like, oh my God. Man, even on my own show, man.
Let's take some comments from the chat. I'm going to drop the link to call in and have some people call in. Marcella and So Debonair, I just want to thank y'all for joining the panel today. As always, you know, I really treasure your opinions and your insights. This is a very important topic. We might have to
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Can I say one thing, honest? And this is what I want to leave all our viewers with. White people die with wills. Black people die with bills. We need to change our mentality and go back and stop buying every name brand to put on us. Stop eating out all the time. Teach your kids to cook. Teach your kids. This COVID-19 is a way that you can rally around the families again. Until we do that, we're going to forever tear everybody down. We're going to keep tearing other women down that got the name brand. We're going to try to outlive them and outdress them. We need to be our own person. So we got to love one another. We in the Black community, we will call another person the ninja. And when a white person said you get mad, it is no different. It's insulting. So I love you guys, and I'm not a, I'm not a personality, but I got these things that we got to start loving one another.
Yeah.
Love yourself.
Marcella, before you go, I'm hosting a New Year's Eve bash, virtual, for all of us that are in quarantine. We can't get out. We can't, go party someplace. I'm hoping you can come back tomorrow night for the bash.
Oh, yeah, and I can show y'all my black eyed peas, collard greens.
Ooh, can I come through and get a plate? Can I get a plate?
That's right. Bye, my love. Bye, my love.
I need a plate.
So, are you going to be here tomorrow for the New Year's Eve bash?
I'll be here.
Ooh, I can't wait. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, I'm going to bring on Alex is here, and he has he wants to make a. Hey, Alex. Hey.
Hi. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I just have a lot to say about this whole boycott Bravo situation. How is Nene? She's boycotting Bravo in order to take more money away from other Black talent. That's other Black people that are going to be out of a job because she's mad that she didn't get her contract renewed when she is the only reason for her own demise. I think people gloss over like a couple of the most disgusting things Nene has said. Number one, she called Claudia a half-breed. This half-breed shit, we don't want this in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? And then number two, remember when she was giving that charity to Kenya? They were going to do that Detroit Public Schools Foundation. It was Nene's idea. And then when Kenya put up and actually did it, Nene never did it. She's like, when I get ready. And she never did it. Like what? Like that's disgusting. When you claim to be like this rich bitch, But what do you want Andy to do? Like what would the proper behavior, how would you have liked Andy to address Monique? That's my thing. Like what would have been the right way to address Monique? I don't understand. It's like, do you not want him to like say anything? If it's a Black woman, do you just want him to sit there quiet, or you want him to like agree? Yes, yeah, or what?
Andy is clueless when it comes to cultural context. He needs some training.
How do you know that?
We saw it on the TV show. What do you mean? Let's just work from a logical place here. We actually witnessed him say to Monique Samuels, "Is Chris still making that type of money?" Because in his mind, he's pre-programmed.
I don't think that's a race thing. I really don't, because
it makes over each other. Alex, honey, let me just finish this statement, and then you can speak and you can respond, sweetheart. You don't pick up on it. But in Andy's mind, he's pre-programmed to believe that a Black athlete is probably broke at this point, and that the crumbs that these shows throw at these women, they should be grateful for it and perform like circus clowns. That is how, a lot of people, not only myself, viewed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't see it that way. I just think it's.
Let me say this to you, Alex. You're a millennial, right?
Yeah.
You've been integrated already. So let me say this to you. Integration means that you have the mindset of as a collective in America.
Is that a problem?
It's not a problem, but then it is a problem because when things are happening to Black people, you don't see it because it's been intersectionalized so much that it's been conflated to where it seems like it doesn't exist. This is why people say, oh, racism, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? No, it does exist, but it's now a new Jim Crow law that's happening to us. It's being separated where the invisible lines you don't see. We hit a glass ceiling every time. Players can tell you in corporate America, or we work with these corporations, there's a ceiling we can hit. We only can hit. We can't even go beyond that ceiling. You try like, why I can't go beyond that ceiling? It's because it's been set in a way that you cannot see it. If you're a person that's not understanding what's really going on around you, you would think, oh, these Black people are just lazy. Oh, these Black people just don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. They have all these opportunities. And even when you have people from different cultures coming to America and they get a step over you, they're doing that to replace you as a black person. And a lot of black people don't see that because it's so it's like what Andy did, like previous seasons with Real Housewives of Atlanta, and people's, and little stuff he would take jabs at. I didn't see it before because I'm like, oh, he just want throwing shade at the women and stuff like that. But when it came to Potomac this season, it was so blatant because we're this heightened awareness of how black people are being treated in this country by, i.e., by people of different different races. So it's now heightened to where people awareness is actually they're really aware of what's going on now. And then for this to happen, why this climate is going on and why he's trying to push Black Lives Matter through Portia, he's still gonna act like, he gonna say these little slide comments. Like Monica said, some of it is unknowing that he's doing. But I think some of it, he knows what he's doing. Is just really slow fade, in my opinion. I have to say my opinion on that one.
So do you think he would have asked Giselle the same thing?
Like,
no. And you think that's just because she's light skinned?
Just like what you said when you came on the show initially yesterday, you brought the fact that she was light skinned with green eyes, the reason why everybody else was jealous of her. Now, and Wendy's
because she's beautiful. I didn't say because of the specifically because of the light skin and green eyes.
Well, you brought up the
we have a ton of people in the backstage. I'm gonna call back in because we have a ton of that, and I want to give everybody an opportunity to speak. We welcome all opinions, and we understand you're learning, and I love the fact that you want to learn and you have a lot of questions. But call back in because I want to give everybody an opportunity. Okay. And
I didn't say I don't think racism is real. I think racism is definitely real. I just don't think racism applies to the situation. Okay, I'll call back.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, April, turn on your camera, honey. April? Oh, there you go. Hi. Hi, darling. How are you? Unmute your mic.
I'm good. Go. This has been hi. This has been a real fascinating conversation. Only thing, Bishop, I love everything about you, but the 48 laws is killing me. I'm very suspicious of that text because of the underlying racial rhetoric that author does. But other than that, but Black people using text to our advantage, I support that. So go forth, because we have to take what we can and we use it and we superpower. The young man Alex, bless his heart, for him to say that, I didn't say that she was light-skinned, green-eyed. What is the premise of you defining her beauty? Her beauty is rooted in her whiteness. And that's the root of everything we're talking about. And for it boggles my mind when Black people especially can't see. What do you mean it's racist? I don't understand. So just because you don't see something doesn't mean it's non-existent. Doesn't mean it's not there. That is literally the definition of gaslighting.
Right.
That, I'm experiencing something and it's real to me, and it's clearly real to the Black community because Twitter is deep frying and fricasseeing Andy Cohen up and down these streets. But I too agree with Plez that, I'm a boycotts still work. I know people say they don't, but if you look in the news, that Black community that took over that gas station, they said, thank you. We will take it. It is ours now. They do work. But I'm with Plez. I think what are we going to get out of this? I think, scrubbing Andy Cohen is a great step. But, canceling the show, I think if we had a great infrastructure behind Real Housewives, it could reboot if there was a new person, sitting in the forefront. Because Andy is not going to be it. He has no interest in educating himself. It doesn't benefit his privilege.
It doesn't.
It doesn't benefit his position. He may be pressured to. It would be nice, but he would be doing it just like they're doing these donations. It would be for show for a short time period.
Yeah. I want to clarify that I'm for a boycott. I just want us to be clear and make sure that, whenever you're doing grassroots organization and you want change, you have to be clear on what change you're going after and what your ask is. Your directives have to be on point. Also, like what Debonair said earlier, we've seen it with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Our community, as we currently stand on a national level, will not buy into a boycott of something on television.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, the most strategic way is for the Black talent themselves to boycott. Or, as Marcella said, for us to boycott the sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody already said in the chat, one of the things that was put up here, boycott during the pandemic, that's all I can do is watch TV. You're going to have so many people that are like that. You're going to have so many people, as I think either the bishop or Debonair said, might boycott Potomac, not going to boycott Southern Charm New Orleans, not going to boycott Married to Medicine. So then the message is lost. It's not a unified message. We have to be, whatever it is, the push has to be unified. And that's why, personally, I feel like the talent has to get on one accord, or at least the majority, and push forward with their ask and their request. Now, if the talent comes back and said, we've done it, we did the work, they still won't listen to us. Then for the ratings and things like that. That's just how I organize things.
Yeah, good points. April, honey, are you're invited to the New Year's Eve bash? We have to have you there, honey. April, can you hear me? Okay.
I shall be there.
You have to be in the house, because child, you are a whole kiki, by yourself. So thank you so much for calling in, and the support and the love, April. Have a good evening. Bye. I'm gonna bring who am I gonna bring on here? Shanada. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so just want to say I agree with what everyone was saying for the most part, but going back to boycotting Bravo, I don't think I'm there yet to boycott Bravo. I agree. I do not like how Monique was portrayed during the reunion, but if I think about Bravo as a whole, and especially for what they did with Atlanta, I love to see Portia's growth from being so close-minded and being with Cardell to where she has come today. I love seeing the growth of Cynthia with having the financial problems of how she's going to pay for her wedding to now having Lake Bailey and having her other businesses. So I'm not quite there yet as far as boycotting the network. But in regards to Married to Medicine and Mariah, I feel like I'm there to where I can boycott Married to Medicine in support of Mariah. And in regards to Nene, I feel like she made a permanent decision on temporary emotions. Nene kind of reminds me of Omarosa. Remember how Omarosa was going so hard for Trump when people was calling Trump racist? Omarosa defended him. And then when he fired her, Omarosa wanted us to believe that the things that he has done to her was wrong, but the things that he has done to other people, she minimized it. I think what happened with Nene, I think Nene got big-headed. I think Nene probably felt like she put Real Housewives on the map for Bravo, and she felt like Bravo owed her something. And I can understand her being hurt, but I do think that she stopped looking at it like it was a job. Just some of her antics at the reunion, like she would tune out. She would refuse to answer questions and stuff like that. So I feel like it has been a buildup over the years to where it's almost like she felt like she was bigger than the show. And Bravo, well, she got disciplined for it or reprimanded for it, and she didn't like it. And the last thing I want to say is about Andy. I feel like Andy, with every single Housewives franchise, Andy has his picks. And to me, all of his picks have narcissistic personalities. Lisa, Nene, Teresa, Vicky, Ramona, and Bethany. Even Kenya, he never really hold them accountable. He'll ask maybe one tough question to them, and then he'll ease up on them, and then everyone else, he'll go in on them. And also Giselle. I feel like he lets Giselle off the hook a lot. So I just think he has his biases when it comes to his picks. I would like to see a new person host the reunions, because clearly he has a lot of stuff on his plate and he can't give the viewers what we're looking for. But yeah, I don't think I'm ready for a full boycott, because like you said, Ples, like, what are we getting? What will be the outcome of the boycott? Same thing with the NFL. I feel like people have like a short attention span. We can jump on something in the beginning because it feels right, it sounds right, but we're not in it for the long haul. And some people may not agree with what Jay-Z said, but I actually agree with it. So we kneeled and we got their attention, but what do we do next? What is the next step? And I don't think people had an answer for the next step. And that's why the movement kind of got shelved.
Thank you so much for calling in. And listen, tune back in tomorrow night, because we're having our New Year's Eve bash. Teacup. Okay. We got some special guests coming through. It'll be fun.
Okay.
Bye. All right. Bye, Shanana. Bye. No. I'm going to take one more or maybe two more, because it's getting kind of late, and we all have lives, don't we?
Hey.
Hey, Auntie Bernie.
Hey, Bishop. Hey. Bless Alex' little heart.
Oh gosh. Let's focus on the topic at hand. You know, there's some distractions. You know.
Yeah. I haven't watched Married to Medicine since they did Buffy, so I don't watch that show anymore. Mm-hmm. With Andy, I think like I said in my comment, NAACP, Urban League, Caliber, Killer Mike, all need to come knocking on his door, because he need a serious retraining of the way he think about Black people. And if he don't get it, he's gonna lose a whole lot more viewers, because his elitism and his whiteism has got him totally off mark. I unfollowed him on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I love the way they roasted him on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I don't have any more words for him. I hope that if Nene is going to do this, do it right. I hope that she's successful in her lawsuit, but she gotta have her paperwork in order, because the proof is on her. It's not on Andy. So when she going to court, if her paperwork is not right, the judge gonna throw it out. I learned that much from watching damn Judge Judy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I hope that we as a collective, if they're going to do the boycott, like Marcella said, go after sponsors. Let them know that I don't agree with you supporting this show that's treating my people like this. What you going to do about it? And then they will get on Andy, because you costing us money.
Right. Yep. Thank you, Miss Bernice.
Okay.
You know, I love to hear your opinions. And are you joining us for the New Year's Eve bash tomorrow?
Oh yeah, most definitely, yeah. Yes.
Yay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Bring your wine, child. We're gonna have okay. Bye. I'm gonna just take I'm gonna take, because of course I gotta bring Princess on here. I'm gonna take after Princess one more caller, and then we're gonna wrap things up. Princess,
hey everybody.
Hey,
in the chat. Should we boycott Andy Cohen? Should we boycott Bravo? Comment in the chat. Let us know how you feel. Princess, what are your thoughts?
Okay. I had to take a pause for the call, so I missed a little bit. I missed baby Alex. I couldn't hear, but I could see what y'all was talking about. But I'm torn. And I'm going to tell you why, because there's a little bit deeper things that it goes for me. Bravo hasn't been that interesting right about now. So I probably wouldn't miss it. Just like Ples was talking about football. It's like, oh, okay, I can go without watching it. I won't die. I kind of like Salt Lake City. I like Married to Medicine Atlanta. But when it comes to Potomac right now, I'm a Karen fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an Ashley fan. So where do we go when we say we want to support our faves, but not support the treatment of our faves? You know what I'm saying? I can definitely boycott Andy. He's a non-factor to me. Okay. I have no problem boycotting Bravo, but I really don't want my faves to miss their checks. And that's where I am with it. I don't know how to split that between.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pay $59.95 for a Robin hat or no?
No, I ain't supporting her. No, she better go somewhere with embezzled and go pay her taxes. I ain't got nothing to do. I'm not paying now one of her taxes because she irresponsible. Now look, hey, I'll go buy my grandma some, my mama some.
I want to buy. I have a fetish for perfume, so I might buy it just to see what it smells like. Now, if it smells like some Tussie or White Diamonds, then I'm going to re-gift it to somebody. Okay.
Not Tussie.
Don't act like you didn't see that on your grandma dressing back in the day.
And White Diamonds.
Oh, the White Diamonds for sure. Yeah.
I want to keep reiterating. How do you support your phase? You still can support your phase. Do y'all not realize when they're on or they're on YouTube or what, those algorithms pay them? So you're still supporting them. You can go buy their products. You have to watch the TV show. End of the day, and I saw another comment. Somebody said, "Well, you only talking about Bravo. What about Love and Hip Hop? We shouldn't be watching none of this crap. Really, we shouldn't. We shouldn't support it. But you also have a collective of within us in the community that don't want to see anything positive. So, like I said, we all have to come together, and we can't have one set of people over here with it, one people over here with it, and one people over here with it. If you're gonna do it, everybody has to be unified. And like Ples keeps saying, what's the end game? There's no end game as of, okay, what are we going to do? But the talent that's getting paid does have to speak up for themselves. They have to help each other out. You can't have one person out here on the limb, because I don't like them for some personal, you'll let a woman get sold up the river, but yet you talking about Black power and Black empowerment. It's kind of like
have to be unified.
Yeah. Princess, thank you so much for calling in. It's I hope you're gonna join us tomorrow for the New Year's Eve.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna spruce up for tomorrow. I'm gonna have my little lashes on. I told you I'm officially going back. I wear gray contacts. I'm going back to green contacts. I will be the new green-eyed bandit. Okay.
All right.
Here.
I can't with you. Listen, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for calling in. Love you, sister. Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna take one more caller before we leave because she's been waiting a long time, or he's been waiting. I'm sorry. Aquarius. It looks like, can you hear us? Okay, the internet's not working. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. Teacup affiliates. Panel, teacups in the chat. Thank y'all so much for joining us today. This was a very important topic. We couldn't cover everything in this 2.5 hours, right? It seems like we probably need a part 2 of this, a continuation, next steps. What are we going to do? Galvanize people. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you're back here tomorrow because we celebrating for New Year's together. We're going to bring in the New Year's together. No, that's right. I'm getting dressed up too. Whatever you like, champagne, your brown liquor, your wine, just, come and celebrate with us. It's quarantine. We can't get out. Those that are shut-ins or away from your family, let's celebrate it together. We're family here, right? Listen, I love you all. Thank you so much. Everyone that sent in a super chat, thank you so much. I also got a Cash App today. Thank you. That was so nice. I wasn't even expecting it. I want y'all to stay safe, be blessed. And I'll see y'all tomorrow night. We're going to get down. We're going to get down on it.
Hey.
We're going to get down on it. All right. Fresh up, get your wine, your brown liquor, and we're going to have some fun, y'all. Bye, everyone. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.